Hello crafty friends, how are you doing today? I've got a fun little experiment to share with you. If you want to follow along, you can pick up one of my blueprinting kits off Etsy and join in with this activity. For those of you who've already purchased one, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. I really appreciate your support. So this little activity that I've just been tinkering with is a lot of fun. We're going to alter the pH of our blueprints using some household ingredients. So I'm going to be using black tea to create a tannin alteration, and I'm going to use some soda crystals to create an alkaline alteration, and some lemon juice to create an acidic alteration. Each one does an interesting little reaction on the paper, and I can't wait to share it with you. So I'm going to go ahead and set up, and I'm going to do a few different little experiments so that you can get an idea of the kind of artworks that you can create for yourself in your studio. Another little experiment, if I've got time, that I'd love to share with you is I've been doing a little bit of flower and leaf pounding with sage leaves and my hammer on the papers that haven't been exposed and the papers that have been exposed. Now this is also worth noting, it's a great little activity to rescue some of your prints. If you've accidentally underexposed yours and haven't left it in the sun long enough and it's not very bright, this will help you to create a new contrasting layer on it. Or if you've overexposed your print and there's just too much blue and not enough plants, this is another great way to make those prints pop and make a little happy mistake shine through. So I hope you join along and you get a lot out of this clip. Please give it a thumbs up and a like. If you want to see more of these videos, you can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. I'll leave links below, and I'll also leave a link for you to pick up the kits. So that at the moment we've got the standard postcard size, and then we've got the one with the moon phase stencil, and also coming soon is going to be the blue bow kit, which is just for you to have fun with at home, so you can create beautiful blue or brown bows. So the whole inspiration of this was actually to create a brown bow, and in the process along the way just been tinkering, and this is where we're at now. So I've got a lot to share with you, so without further ado, I'm going to get set up and show you some of the fun little steps that you can do to elaborate on your blueprints.
So the first batch I'm going to prepare is my black tea. So this is just some loose leaf English breakfast tea. I'm going to pop some generous tablespoons into my little pot. And in the next one I'm actually putting some hibiscus flowers just to have a little play. I have had a play already with the black tea, but not with the hibiscus. And I'm just going to fill this up with some water, but not the whole way, because I want to make it as concentrated as possible. And same here with the hibiscus flowers, just covering them so that we can get the most out of our little concoctions here. Just going to give it a little swirl to help it incorporate. And the next one that I'm going to prepare here is my soda crystals. You can get these at the supermarket in the self-care aisle. I'm just going to use about half a tablespoon. This will be more than enough. Now, if you can't find this item at the supermarket, Bicarb soda is also an alkaline. So this soda crystals is just an extremely alkaline ingredient. So do be careful. And now I actually haven't had a lot of experience with this ingredient. This is one of the first times that I'm giving it a go. So just before filming this tutorial, I just set out and had a test to see if it would work. And it's really doing a beautiful job of etching away at the blue that's being created by the blueprinting process. kind of reminds me of those stockings that you've seen on Pinterest, if you've noticed them. I have, where someone's gone along with a bleach pen on black stockings and created these beautiful illustration stockings. It's really satisfying to see it appear so quickly. I'm not planning at all when I'm sketching. I'm just looking at what the composition already holds in it and just elaborating on it. So here I think I'd try to create a little paper moon stencil by cutting out a paper moon, and it didn't quite work. I think I overexposed this one. It was out too long in the sun. And I'm just going to connect these little parts of the fern here to make it more of a tree. Add some stars in the sky to go with the moon. And see how they go. And you can see the lines appearing very quickly before your eyes. And I'm just going to give the stars a few starbursts. And what I'm noticing is that in the deeper parts of the blue, it is actually turning yellow. It's not exactly stark white. There is a bit of a yellowing there to it, but I don't mind that. Let's see how we go on this piece. Oh yes, so I'm using the black tea now to just add tone, and then once again up the top I'm going over my moon phase stencil. So this is, in this kit it comes with a mountain, a moon phase, and the word moon phase. And sometimes it's nice to just add an extra layer with this tea to create mountain depth. And it looks very realistic when you do this too. And the stars work beautifully on this as well, just to do tiny little dots with the soda crystals or your bicarb soda. And you can make them as large or as small as you want. I quite like doing the little star flare, so I'm just going to do the same on this one. Just cover half this time as well in the tea. And I'm going straight in there with the soda ash, and it's interesting to watch it bleed into the tea there. And once again, just going over the moon phase word just to make it look a little bit more handwritten. I'm going to cover these next sheets entirely in the black tea. The black tea is a very thin translucent layer. It's actually only when it's been sitting and has had time to develop on the actual blueprint itself that you notice the tone taking hold. So I'm just going to go ahead on these ones that are underexposed, or that one was underexposed, this one's not, this one's a normal print, and just give it a little dash of my soda crystal. And here I'm just going to get a little bit more detailed with the soda crystal and do some little line work, some little details, and just intuitively feel into the space. This would be a fun, I would really love to draw some crowns in this format. It would look really beautiful, I think. I'm just going to do a little bird, a little girl, and a house, and a sun. So that's with the soda crystal, but you could definitely get a similar effect with the bicarb. Now, I think that this, oh yes, lemon juice now. Okay, so I'm going to pop some lemon juice on, and we'll have a play with the lemon juice. So the lemon juice is the acid element of this experiment, and I'm just giving a little dose over that. What I noticed is that it's actually lightening the tea. So here this was the moon phase that was covered in tea, and going over the moons, it's actually turning them a paler blue. And now I'm just going to create more like a galaxy starburst in the sky. I actually didn't wait long enough for those little dots of the soda ash, soda crystal to dry, and it creates a bit more of a reducing. And that light blue bow there, that was the lemon juice as well, and then the inner bow was the soda crystal. So now that the tea is dried on this one, I'm just going to go ahead and give them a little bow in the soda crystal. And I quite like, I'm noticing that the soda crystal, when it's on top of the tea, is turning a lightish brown, and the soda crystal, when it's on just the blueprint alone, just reduces the blueprint to a cream colour. So what I'm really looking for is that more of that tan brown color. So now I'm noticing that I'm achieving that when I go over the top of my my tea. So I think that's the element that I'm going to be aiming for now when I go and work on my larger bows. So this is my blue bow experiment page. This is just covering it in a thin layer of the tea. I'm going to set it aside to dry, and the same with this bow. I'm just going to cover it with a layer of the tea, just a thin layer, and then allow it to dry, hoping for the effect of creating a brown sort of beautiful ochre bow. So I'm just going to put this aside as well and wait for it to dry. And then I'm going to add another layer on top of this because I think that I'd like to create a depth of contrast here that's a bit more noticeable than the other colours before. Because there was a nice sepia colour, but I think I'd like a darker tone. So this one's dry. I'm going to go ahead in with my soda ash now and see what kind of contrasts we get on the larger scale. So let's see. I'm just going to go around the outside to begin with. And you can see already that colour appearing. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky, like where do you stop? Where is enough? So it's kind of nice to have a few of them lined up so you can experiment the limits that you'd like it to go to. Do one on here too. I'm just going to go ahead and paint this one in as well. So I'm just creating it so that there is actually still the blue contrast in between. This actual sheet only had the one layer of the tea, and you can see how it's quite creamy, which is a nice colour, nice sandy creamy colour, but it's not the depth that I want. So this one I've coated 2 times, looking for that deeper brown.
So this is the blue bow that I've coated 2 times over in the black tea, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it a coating now of the soda crystals. It's really nice. You can already see that the tea has changed the color of the blue to a deeper blue.
And it looks really nice. I actually wouldn't mind it just being this way, but ultimately what I want to see is this entire rainbow in an ochre tone. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with the stripe patterning, and then I'm going to go in and fill those gaps in between the stripes. It's nice to see that contrast. I think I might let it remain that way on other artworks, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and fill in those gaps in between and turn the whole thing into an ochre bow. So there we are, an ochre bow, a brown bow, just like we wanted. It's going to get a little bit darker as we let it sit for a few more minutes and as it dries. So let's see what it looks like in a moment. So what I've noticed after I've left it to develop is that a lot of the ochre and beautiful browns blended into our plant shadows. So just to make them pop, I'm going to go back in with a little bit of lemon juice and just lighten and brighten those little areas so we can see our beautiful shadow prints pop again. And next, I'll just give you a recap of all of those ingredients that we've been working with, and I'll show you the litmus paper tests of those different pH elements.
Okay, so the 3 altering ingredients that we're working with is the soda ash or soda crystals. This is English breakfast black tea, lemon juice and hibiscus flower tea, and just water from the tap. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull off some little litmus paper samples for you to notice with me the alterations. So let's do the soda ash first. So here you can see on the scale, this is alkaline and this is acidic, and greens are neutral. So straight away you can see that the soda ash goes right up to the end of the scale at the darkest point. So it is the most alkaline that you can get. And then our lemon juice, it goes to about, I would say, a 3. So it's not the most acidic that you can get, but it is definitely in between the higher end. It's a little bit tricky to get a reading from the hibiscus tea because of the color that it already is. But basically what we're working with here is the tannins in it. It's not working as an acid when I'm painting with it. When I'm painting with it, it's turning things purple, which is really interesting. So the last one to test, oh, we'll test the water as well. I'm not expecting any color from the water. There you go, though. It's about neutral in the green tone there. And the last one is the tea. Also, I'm not expecting a reaction from the tea because it's mainly the tannin in it that we're working with, not the actual acidic level of it. But having said that, tea can sometimes be quite acidic, especially when it's strong. But I'm just getting a neutral reading there. It's about a 5. Yeah. So a little bit acidic, but not altogether altering in our process. Just to give you one more example of how those elements play out, I'll give you, well, this one here was the soda ash stripe, and then I'll show you what the lemon juice looks like next to it. The lemon juice is lightening and brightening, so it's making the blues go into a pale blue, but I'm also noticing that it can help to take away this yellowing color that is occurring with the soda ash. So it'll take a little while to develop, but you can kind of see in some of the areas up there where it's altering the pH back to an acidic angle, where it's taking it back to its natural blue. And then the tea, if we give it a bit of a wash over the soda ash and the blue, it's darkening it into a darker tone, and that'll keep developing as well. And then if we go into the hibiscus tea, which is just the flowers of the hibiscus, and if we just give that a go over, you can see what that's doing too. So that's actually acting, yeah, maybe that color that it is giving is like a lemon juice. It is an acidic one because it's going blue. I noticed before that it was turning things almost purple. So there you go, you can get a different gradient of colors with just a couple of different ingredients. So we've got the sepia color, a bit more of a purpley color, so in between, and then a really stark light blue, and the cream and the lightening and the brightening from the soda ash. But like, once again, you can also use bicarb soda for that step because it's also an alkaline ingredient. And it's also interesting to see, I'm not going to wait for them to dry. I'm just going to give you the example of watching what happens when we put the soda ash then across all of these. So I'll just do a drop, perhaps. A drop there, a drop there, and a drop on there. And then we'll see if we can notice. So here I'm noticing that it's turning the blue and the tea into different tones of grey and blue. And here I'm noticing that it's evening out that alkaline action that's happened from the hibiscus tea, forming, you know, just another lightening veil over it. And here it's turning the paler blue into more of an inky blue. It's kind of fun to work with all of them when they're wet, because then you can get like more of a watercolor effect happening and get them to swim together, so you don't get the strong colors like we've got with the rainbow, but you can get more of a fluid watercolor motion of blending and bleeding, which is fun to play with too. You could once it's really wet as well, you could just let it hang and drip and rock it around. So a fun way to use these prints that we've been making today is to select a beautiful frame, or you can get from your craft shop some blank cardstock and stick it on the front. So I'm just going to show you, I like to sometimes use double-sided tape to stick it on. I'm just going to choose my favorite pieces from today. So I really love this piece, and I'm just going to actually use some washi tape that I've got that matches this color selection, and I'm just going to tack it on there. Let's see, one up the top. Down the bottom. That looks really nice. So that can go in this beautiful card. And it's just a really nice way of sharing your artwork with those you love and care about, and sharing your creative spark with others. And then this beautiful piece I'm just going to pop in this beautiful tiny weeny frame. I like using frames that don't need any trimming, so this is just a standard photo size frame, and I can just see that at the top is where there's more room for extension, so I'm just going to fold it in and pop it in. You can make a little sticker on the back if you like, and then you've got a beautiful little gift for Christmas, or for, it'd make a beautiful gift for a housewarming, wouldn't it? Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. If you'd like to make a donation, you can do so below. I'll pop the link to my PayPal account. I really hope that you feel inspired by these little tutorials that I'm putting together, and if you support my channel, I'll continue to do so. So thanks so much for tuning in, and happy making. Bye for now.